Hello and welcome to this episode of Really Dicey. Today is our Kickstarter highlight for June 2022, and we have a special guest here, which I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead, James. Tell us who you are.
Yes, thank you. I'm James Droucker. I'm a RPG creator and lifetime GM. I'm glad to be here and helping out.
Yeah, well,
some of my ideas here.
Excellent. Thanks for stepping up. So,
hey, my pleasure. You guys are fantastic. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Okay. So I'll just start us off here. The first thing I wanted to look at is called the Eazy RPG. Mm-hmm. That's easy with a Z. RPG with an R, P, and G. So what this is, it's designed to be fast and easy to get you up and running really quickly. They use cards for your character creation. So your tree of abilities are on cards. So you can mix and match the cards.
Yeah.
Put yourself together really quickly. One of the nice things about this is everything is presented right now. There's going to be no more books. Mm-hmm. What they do have is online tools. So they're going to try to make a whole suite of online tools. So you can play with the book, the cards, and like some apps or some online things on your computer. So they're going to have adventures and things like that. The monster creation tool is actually online right now. So you can go to the Kickstarter and check it out. So this looks like a really quick and easy way to get into kind of home brewing, because it doesn't really have a hard setting of itself, so helps you create your own.
Is it its own system, or is it based on something else? Oh, right.
No, it's its own system. And you can
jump in and go.
You can get running. You can get everything for $25.
Technicals. That's very cool.
That's a good way to get in.
Check that out. Yeah. Well, exactly. Easy is always, especially these days, especially when you're dealing with all the technicals of online and stuff. If you're doing Zoom games and stuff. Yeah. My first one, I'm going to go with kind of a little outside the box. Tabletop Hawaiian shirts. I'm going through the games and stuff, and I saw these shirts, and the guy who designed them took most of his inspiration from Carcassonne and the meeples. You see the little meeples, the little wooden people that he's and gaming dice, and created Hawaiian shirts. And they're tacky, they're garish, they're colorful, and I love them to death. It's the kind of thing that I would totally wear. And just click the link. They have the Hawaiian shirts, but they also have like matching dresses. So if you and your significant other want to, go to a con in the matching kind of Hawaiian shirt aesthetic, you can. They even have a reward tiers that's like one dress and one shirt for couples and stuff. So some very cool stuff and very well designed clothing that people will notice out on the floor as hers.
Oh wow, that sounds really great. I think my search engine missed that. When I searched this off, I looked for RPGs and tabletop games. That's why I didn't see this.
I probably almost went right past it. I think I just started searching RPG before going into specific sections, and it popped up, and I'm like, oh, this is something a little bit different. So
I like that.
I think those are fantastic. So I think it's something every gamer should look into.
All right. Well, next on my list, I have a book called Potions and Herbalists. This is a nicely illustrated book. Also, it comes with reference cards as well. So it's a list of potions, of course, but it's more than that. You get a little bit of lore for all the potions, and you get the ingredients of the potions, which are really neat. So each potion has at least 2 interesting, unique ingredients. Even talks about the bottles and containers that you find the potions in. Yeah. And how different bottles can have different properties, adding even another dimension to your potions.
Yeah. I saw that one. Yeah.
There are tips for making your own potions, of course. It's a rules light system that can be easily plugged into all sorts of old school games. And the whole thing costs you about $30.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I saw that one. And I'm a GM who likes GM tools, and that seems like a really good GM tool to have. And I did notice like the art is very nice, very well done, and sounds like a great product.
Yes.
My next pick is one called SHEAR RPG, and essentially it's about interdimensional travel. And reading over the description, it sort of hits me like a Sliders meets the SCP Foundation kind of thing. So it's definitely very kind of horror centric. It uses the standard deck of cards for its resolution mechanics, and leveling is done with this notion of retrieval. So when you go to these different dimensions, you retrieve data, you retrieve creatures, you retrieve objects and such. And anything that advances research in your own dimension about other dimensions is what helps to level. The creator's from England, and apparently he's been working on this game for 30 years. Goodness. So whether it's it's his own system and everything, whether it's something he's just like in just home brewing for his own players, and eventually say, hey, I should turn this into a book. It's initially a print run book. Stretch goals are PDFs to be added on, and all other stretch goals involve 2 other books that could be bought as well that cover different dimensions and different creatures and stuff found in these other dimensions. So it sounds like he's got a lot of content on display there, and just it sounds very fun, very like a little more action heavy, kind of like what I like, but with a lot of the horror. Although he does say it's very stealth combat oriented, more than full on like guns blazing kind of thing. So
I see.
but definitely a very strong research element to it as well. So he invokes Call of Cthulhu and SLC as influences on how he created this. So that sounds very intriguing. Something I definitely take a look at myself.
Nice. Okay, so following that theme there, alternate dimension weirdness. Next thing I want to look at is called Mysteries of the Multiverse. This is a zine for Mutant Crawl Classics. Okay, well, so first of all, I love Mutant Crawl Classics.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know Mutant Crawl Classics, it's by the same guys who did Dungeon Crawl Classics, Goodman Games. And Mutant Crawl Classics is kind of their take on Gamma World, if you remember the old TSR product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's after the bomb weirdness with mutants and talking plants and
post-apocalyptic, gonzo.
Very, very gonzo. Very gonzo. So what we've got here is a zine, which is kind of a setting book, but it's also got adventures and it's got some new rules and lots of stickers for some reason.
Well, the DC set like their stickers and their patches and stuff, so that's not a stretch.
If you like stickers, you can put them on your notebooks. So the whole thing can be had as a PDF for $7 and print for $12. So that's a nice, cheap, add-on for your Mutant Crawl Classics. And if you don't know Mutant Crawl Classics, if you head over to this Kickstarter page, there is a link to a quick start of Mutant Crawl Classics to get you an idea to look into it.
Yeah, definitely. No, this one was on my radar as well. Love DCC, love MCC, and I think MCC is definitely hungry for more content. So it's great to see some MCC stuff being put out there into the world. So
it is definitely the younger brother product.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of younger people,
nice
my next one, exactly. Mine is called Beasts and Basements, and essentially it's your kind of it's not D&D or 5e or anything. It's its own system, but it's great for kids and families. It's sort of like the target audience. It's created by an elementary art teacher who strongly believes in learning through play. And so the rules are very simple, character creation is very simple, and the look of it is, it's like colorful, hand-drawn kind of art style that's just, it evokes just a very happy kind of childhood feel to it. And it uses a lot of like cards for content and such, and it's easy, and they actually encourage you to add your own content if you can. Again, it's just something you pick up the box, you look at the cover, and you've got these cute kind of hand-drawn monsters, and it's kind of heartwarming. And if you want to be able to play with your kids or play two kids, it looks like something that would very easily sort of fit into their kind of their particular niche, but at the same time still being a fulfilling role-playing experience even for an adult.
Nice.
It's kind of the impression I got of it. Yeah, it looks good. It's going to come in a box set apparently. It looks like it may almost have a board game look, but it's kind of like was it Mouse Guard had a box set originally that was kind of large. It's like similar to that kind of a look for the physical edition of it. So yeah, that looks wonderful. I'm a big proponent of introducing kids to role playing and that idea of learning through play as well. So it's I think it's a wonderful campaign that's going on, and I think he's actually fulfilled at this point. It's all gravy at this point. But yeah, he's not there yet. He needs another like $8,000. So go help this guy out. Beasts and Basements. Looks really fun.
Sounds good. Sounds good. The next game I want to look at is called Fae. It's a full role-playing game with its own system, which uses buckets of D10s, which is fun.
I've got buckets of those kicking around here somewhere.
Did you ever play Storyteller? You'll have buckets.
Oh yeah.
So in this game, the player characters are Fae creatures, which he describes as monsters. So that kind of gives you an idea about his take on Fae. So you have all sorts of Fae creatures. So the creatures live in the modern world, but they must stay hidden. That's like the big rule. They have to stay hidden from mortal society. So other than that, they can get up to all sorts of mischief. And there are all sorts of ability trees to grow your character in different directions. It looks like a great, a very evocative game. Really, really nice art. So there's a player's guide, which apparently shows if you're just going to be a player, you can get the player guide and let your GM buy the full game. And then there's the full game. There's also, through the Kickstarter, there's exclusive dice that you can add on. There's also a GM screen and cards. So there's all sorts of stuff. You can get started with the PDF for $15, and $100 gets you everything. All of it.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of the whole notion, play the monster kind of concept it's been intriguing to me. It's something I've never really had a chance to do. It's something I'd like to look at myself at some point. So very cool. Yeah,
no, it looks interesting. I have all sorts of questions about how the monsters interact with society and all that. Kickstarter.
I think that might be that might be the Fae angle, because it's like they're always saying Fae are outside of human kind of existence and pockets. So something
it looks like a good chance to cut loose.
Hopefully. My next selection is something that would not normally be something I would choose. It's an adventure for 5e. I'm not much of a 5e guy, but I like something that has the potential of sort of drawing people into other systems and settings. The Lost Message is an investigative adventure, so it's not combat focused. It's more about investigations and moving your narrative forward. And again, that's a very I'm very much a Call of Cthulhu guy, and investigations is very much a strong part of a lot of Call of Cthulhu. So anything that can maybe bridge that gap and show people there are other ways of role playing other than, I run into the room, I kill the monster, and I get the treasure. It is, as much as that can be a lot of fun, don't get me wrong.
Sure can.
But expanding the horizons of that, it feels like she's the author of this is really trying to do that with this, and it's also it's easy to get into. It's very affordable. It's, you pay $6 and you get a PDF, and it's the full adventure. It's like just before the campaign started, her father actually passed away, who was a big inspiration to her. So this is sort of dedicated to her father to do this. So it kind of struck a chord with me in terms of that. And I think, I think it's something that could be really, really special. So.
Sounds nice. Yeah. The last thing on my list is called Loot Hunters. Now, this is another project by Exploring Maps. So people may have been watching. In the past couple of months, I've recommended a couple of these projects. They are beautiful hand-drawn maps. I love maps. I am also terrible at making maps. So I'm always pleased to let somebody make a map for me. Mm-hmm. So what we have here is a system neutral set of maps that really fits old school D&D. So you've got beautiful black and white drawings of dungeons and towns, and there's a regional map. And along with each map, there's a little bit of lore. You have some rumors, and of course you have lots of loot, and there are adventure ideas. So they're really great tools to build an adventure around.
Oh, it sounds like something you could just put on the table, and a good GM can go, this is what we're doing. There we go.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And the other great thing I love about this is for Kickstarter, these are really cheap. You can get the PDF for $2.
Nice.
Also, the other great thing about them is they're going to be delivered by September. So this is practically like shopping.
Almost, yeah.
Kickstarter, like I back something and then 6 months later it shows up and I've completely forgotten about it.
6 months these days almost feels like a pipe dream sometimes. But it's always nice when it's ready and good to go.
Yeah, no,
cool.
So I have backed at least 2 projects by Exploring Map, mm-hmm. and they're great. They're really beautiful, and they've showed up right on time, and they're really nice and definitely worth the $2.
Awesome. Have you used them in game yet?
I have not. I haven't had a chance to use them in the game.
You've just been poring over them and adoring them.
Yes.
The beautiful maps, which I mean, it's pretty much what I do myself. So, my last selection is a Kickstarter that hasn't been released yet, and there hasn't been much revealed about it. But the name alone should get a lot of people really excited. It's the Cowboy Bebop RPG.
Yes.
I mean, it's from what I've gathered, it's its own system, and there will be rules for actually playing as the crew of the Bebop, and characters created there, and rules specific to creating your own team of bounty hunters. And it's like, if you've seen the anime, then you know how cool the world of Cowboy Bebop is, and to make a game within that and play within that sounds like, just regardless of what system they use, whatever, that sounds like a really great idea. So we'll have a link to they have the coming soon page. Click on that. Click on the follow for when that comes out, because that's going to be a winner. I have a feeling. So, and just Cowboy Bebop. Now I've got to go watch the series again.
Sure. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I have an honorable mention that was put out there. Those who know me know I've been involved with the Lost Lorn team, Mark Greenhagen's current projects, suite of projects. They have Badlander, which is going to be going to Kickstarter probably at the end of this month. which is June right now.
Yes.
And so it's basically their first true rule book for with character creation and their modification of 5e that they call the Tail Spinner D20 system. And it's kind of like take one part, Three Musketeers, and then one part storyteller system and monsters and weirdness, and you've got your wonderful fantasy kind of setting with Badlanders and Fury of Thorns. So that's something to keep an eye out. Hopefully they do well. And again, like I said, I've been involved with the Lost Thorn team. I'm not involved with this book. I didn't write it or anything. I didn't do anything with it. But I've got some friends involved with that. So, give them a little shout out, a little honorable mention. Hopefully they can make something happen with this.
Excellent. Well, great. Thank you. Well, there you have, folks. A bunch of Kickstarter projects for you to check out. And thanks for joining us, and see us again next month, and we'll have some more stuff for you. Thank you, James, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching, everyone.